What would your reality be like if you controlled everyone in it? How would they treat you? What would they do for you? Imagine if what you're imagining right now was simply waiting for you at the click of your fingers. Well, it is. You have the power to control the thoughts and the behaviors of everyone in your life. And no, I'm not exaggerating. I'm deadly serious. This isn't anything to do with Machiavelli. This isn't anything to do with Robert Greene, behavioral science, psychology. Those things have their place, and I highly recommend, if you haven't already, you go study evolutionary psychology, behavioral science, psychology, and dark psychology. But what I'm talking about is metaphysical, and a hidden power lies in these 6 words. You meet no one but yourself. And by the end of this, it will click and everyone will be in your control. Now, I'd like to put up a warning here, because I'm not trying to get in trouble with no FBI or CIA. I know people who have used this information to get girls, and yes, I mean get girls. Get guys, and yes, I mean get guys. Get them to pay for free holidays, obsessed with them, and give them money. And here's a disclaimer. I'm not liable or responsible for anything that you're about to see. I take no responsibility. So use what I'm about to give you very wisely. And with that being said, let's have some fun. Have you ever heard of non-duality? Imagine there's 3 water bottles on a table. One is colored white, the other is colored black, and the other is colored yellow. They're all filled with tap water. I'm sorry for the spiritual people who don't drink tap water. Now, to the eyes, those water bottles appear to be different. I mean, after all, they're different colors, right? One's white, one's black, one's yellow. But to the mind that knows that they're all filled with the same water, it's all the same thing. And this is the essence of non-duality. As you raise your level of awareness, you step beyond the physical appearance of things and place your awareness on the higher levels where separation is an illusion. Nothing in the universe is separate. Everything is one. Think about it like this. Think about it like sunlight streaming through a window and casting all these different patterns of light on the floor. Each pattern may seem separate, but they all originate from the same source, the sun. Similarly, in non-duality, it's like recognizing that all individual expressions of life are connected to the same source and therefore fundamentally are unified. This is you with every person you meet, beyond the glob of meat suits, shout out spiritual soul, that we call our bodies. We all have the same water, the same ray of light in us. Most people in the world see others as separate from them, which is a major issue because they're trapped and limited by the eyes. They see themselves as separate from everybody else, and this is the view of reality of those stuck in the illusion of things. When you see yourself as separate from others, you're failing to recognize your true cosmic identity in reference to everybody, and you're ignorant of how the universe truly works, by the way, which will always result in suffering. Being one with everyone means everyone is a mirror or a reflection of you, and not knowing this puts you in a position for a lot of self-inflicted damage. Take haters, for example. Haters can't ever win. Remember, actually, the only hater that can win is Kendrick Lamar, because he killed Drake.
Let me say I'm the biggest hater. I hate the way that you walk, the way that you talk. I hate the way that you dress.
But anyways, remember, haters can't win because you meet no one but yourself. And when you understand that everybody is you, just with a different physical expression, you are one with them. This means the emotions, the thoughts, and the beliefs you hold about another will always reflect onto you. Remember, mirror reflections. To hate seeing others succeed is to hate to see yourself succeed. Which makes success avoid you. To hate seeing others prosper is to hate to see yourself prosper, which makes prosperity avoid you. To hate to see others become wealthy is to hate you becoming wealthy, which makes money avoid you. And this happens more often than you'd think. Believe it or not, most people in the world are haters. They're trapped in a survival paradigm, limited by the lowest aspects of themselves, such as envy or jealousy, which, by the way, we all experience, but it's about being able to transcend these emotions, which few people will ever have the ability to do. Now, with that being said, most of the world are so disconnected from their inner self that they don't recognize that their outer self, which is always reflected from the internal, is always coming out in the circumstances, situations, and the people that they experience. The truth is, we are all masks that God is wearing. And before you write this off as spiritual pseudoscience, quantum physics aligns with the concept of non-duality with something called quantum entanglement. Quantum entanglement is when particles are linked, so that if something happens to one, it instantly affects the other, no matter how far apart in the universe they are. Think about it like having two magic coins. When you flip one, the other one instantly knows what the first one did, no matter how far apart they are across the universe. One could be in Antarctica, the other one could be in London. It wouldn't make any difference. They always know what the other is up to, even if they're on opposite sides of the world, because they're connected. And this explains everything in the universe. It's almost like a quantum web of some sort, even if it appears separate to the eyes. So quantum entanglement is like a clue that shows us how everything in the universe is linked together in a big, mysterious, kind of giant invisible web connecting everything in the universe, people included. And I want you to think about those times, right, when you've been thinking about a friend or somebody and then they call you or message you, or you call them and they're like, hey, I was just thinking about you, or I was just about to call you, or you say something at the same time, or you know what somebody's gonna say before they've done it. Imagine if you had the power to make this go from being something random to something that you can control. This is how one of my clients, Nicole, was able to start closing more deals as a real estate agent. She was trapped at 9K per month, and literally in just under 2 months she's now flipped that to 35K per month. She literally hit 35K. And another one of my clients, Jake, who literally joined 2 weeks ago, went from 55K per month to he's already at 75K in the month of May, and we're halfway through. So if you're an entrepreneur who's interested in how high achieving entrepreneurs shift their frequency so they can manifest their business goals in 7 weeks using one insanely simple framework, then link in the description. It's all part of controlling people. So let's keep going even deeper. Pause. Okay, Nero, let's get to it. How do I start controlling people? You already do. AJ, you already know what to hit them with. How do I start controlling people? You already do. You already control the behavior of every single person in your life. Yes, strangers included. Never forget that manifestation is like breathing. You do it 24/7, just unconsciously. Like breathing, but it's not until that I point out to you that you're breathing that you become aware of your breathing and some focus shifts there. It's the same thing when it comes to people. The first step is realizing that you've been controlling people on autopilot. And I'll give you an example of this that will make it click. Have you ever argued with someone in your head? Of course, you're crazy. And jokes aside, you're not crazy, we all do this. But think about something as small as arguing with someone in your head. If you pay very close attention to the moments in your life when you do this, eventually, shortly after that imaginal scene, there was some conflict, some tension in the atmosphere. You manifested it. And please never forget what I'm about to say. There is no disconnect between your mind and reality. None. I'll explain what I mean by this shortly, but just understand that there is no reality outside of your mind, outside of your consciousness, which is the substance of reality. And this is why it's stated in the Hermetic tradition, the universe is mental. You've been doing this forever. You just never knew you were doing it all along. You need to grasp the idea that you've been controlling people without realizing it, because if not, you'll end up like the rest of the world, wishing for others to change without realizing that they only are the way that they are because you've decided so. AJ, you know what to do. You need to grasp the idea that you've been controlling people without realizing it, because if not, you'll end up like the rest of the world, wishing for others to change without realizing that they only are the way that they are because you've decided so. Now, without knowing that you already control everyone in your reality, you'll wish you did, never realizing that you had it all along. Unused power is actually worse than having no power. It's like the story of the robber who got locked inside of a bakery and starved to death. Hopefully that doesn't go over your head. Every single person in your life, from your parents to your friends to your enemies to your strangers, are all controlled by you. Now, I don't mean you can be sat in your room controlling somebody across the world, but what I mean by that is the way that they act in your life, you are co-creating that shared experience because you're seeing a version of them. Now, this doesn't mean that people are free from the responsibility of what they do and free will and stuff like that, but what it does mean is that you choose the version of somebody that you experience, whether you realize this or not. I'm not saying that this is good or bad, it's just the way that it is. So miss me with all that before you start putting stuff in the comments saying this happened to me and this happened to me. Just listen to what I'm about to say so you can use it so you don't end up in these situations again. You give them the mask. Understand this, and if you can remember this, oh my god.
Oh my god! Wow!
You're gonna be so different in your reality. You don't see someone you see a version of them. What do you mean by this, Nero? Okay, let me tell you. Most people in the world think that what somebody shows them is who they are. But like the Japanese philosophy on human nature states, we all wear masks. Now, in the Japanese culture, people often think about wearing masks, but not in a literal sense, but as a way of describing how they act differently depending upon who they are, where they are, and who they with. Now, you don't show your mom the same mask that you show to your friend, the same mask that you show to your co-worker, the same mask that you show to your partner. There's a public face in the philosophy called a tatame. Now, I've probably butchered that, so please forgive me. When it comes to the public face or the tatame, oh no, it's not tatame, it's tatame. You know what? Just forget it. Anyways, in the public face, you follow the social rules, you keep things peaceful, and you act polite. But then there's a private side called a hone. Or honing. Hey, listen, I don't know. Anyways, we're forever changing masks depending upon who we're dealing with. As above, so below. Now, while this exists on a societal level, it also happens on a metaphysical level. How somebody treats you, how somebody acts towards you, whatever your experience of somebody is just that. An experience. It's just one version of our infinite versions of how they could act towards you. Now, this taps into the parallel universe theory, which states that there are infinite versions of you across infinite amount of universes experiencing an infinite amount of realities. Now, there's one with your homeless, billionaire, teacher, a chef, a fisherman, or a fisherwoman. Points for inclusivity. My point being, there's infinite amount of versions of you to which somebody could experience, which they dictate, you dictate by the state of your mind. However, if you think that the way somebody's acting towards you is the only one way that they can be, you lock that reality into place from shifting and from being able to change, and it becomes permanent, or because the frequency that you're projecting comes with a certain level of certainty that it has to be this way. If you don't like the mask that someone is showing you, all you have to do is change it. And now you're probably like, Nero, how do I do that? Don't worry, I've got you. And here's how you can change the mask that you give to people. Now, when I was 16, I started reading everything I could on Black history, slavery, systematic, institutional, and the biological destruction of Black people, even going back to the most ancient civilizations, the origins, etc., etc. And I read a bunch of books, such as Message to the Black Man, Niggas to Gods, the autobiography of Malcolm X, Post-Traumatic Slave Syndrome, How Europe Underdeveloped Africa, To Die for the People by Huey Newton, The Destruction of the Black Civilization by Chancellor Williams, and that's just a couple. And as you can imagine, reading a lot of these books, Stolen Legacy, that's another good one. As you can imagine, reading these books, I had a lot of hatred and pain towards white people at that particular time in my life. It was a lot. I'm sure, as you can imagine, a 16-year-old reading all of these things, At that period in my life, I encountered the most disharmony in my reality with white people, from insults to hateful stares thrown at me to things said to me. Why? Because I had given the entire race of white people a mask. And there's two things to be aware of here. In reality, people can only show you the mask that you've given to them. Number two, you make the laws of your reality. If you decide on something with full conviction, then it will be a truth. Not because it is, because your subconscious mind has accepted it as truth. And this is where it gets tricky. If the experience that we have with people is determined by what we've decided of them mentally, then that means whatever the world can get you to believe of somebody is exactly what you will experience of them. AJ, you know what to hit them with. Then that means whatever the world can get you to believe of somebody is exactly what you will experience of them. If the world can get you to believe that Black people are ghetto, you will only experience ghetto Black people.
Real niggas love wretched bitches. Y'all ain't killing my man, so I went and bought him switches.
If the world can get you to believe that white people are evil, then you will only get to experience evil white people. If the world can get you to believe that your co-worker or your boss is an asshole, then that is the only version of them that you will experience. If you're not able to change the mask that you've given to someone, then you'll be a victim of your own creation, because really and truly, why would you want to live in a world of disharmony? And if you're encountering disharmony with people, then you need to look at the potential mask you've been giving to them unconsciously. And if you could just change the mask that you give someone, everything will change, and it's so easy. All you have to do is choose another mask. Most people are tricked into believing that the way someone is, that's it. It's unchangeable, but that's not true. All you have to do is choose another version of them, and here's a simple way to do that. Are you ready? Decide that they're how you want them to be, and hold to that idea, that frequency, that reality, regardless of whatever the world shows you. It's that simple. One of my favorite quotes by Leonardo da Vinci is, "Simplicity is the ultimate form of sophistication." With whoever it is you wish to control, simply change the mental conversations that you're having with them to be reflective of the desired version of them that you want to experience. If it's someone you like and you want them to like you, simply alter the mental conversations that you have with them to reflect of how much they like you. If it's somebody that you're beefing, simply have mental conversations with them that reflect how you're both happy that you get along now. And if you make it real and visualize a short simple scene that confirms that they are how you want them to be, and when they show up in your reality you're able to stay true to mind sight and not eyesight, then believe me, they will change. And that's it. It's literally that simple. It's not complicated. You don't need to do all of these crazy rituals and stuff like that. Leave that for those who want to go down there. I'm not into that, and I'm guessing you're not either. Now with that being said, have fun controlling them.